Hello and welcome to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. Jake and I are back. Mike will be joining us later when we get to our Badgers discussion. But today, we got a lot more Brewers to discuss. So more Brewers discussion from Jake and I. We have 7 games to cover. As usual, we're going to start with our power pairs and underrated performers. And then we are going to talk about all the games. We're going to highlight some of the play by some of the recent, I shouldn't say recent, but some of the acquisitions that Matt Arnold came in with since the trade deadline and even more recently than that. And then we have the Badger game from Georgia Southern, the win, back in the win column. And then we're going to preview their upcoming Friday night game, which is weird to say.
That's so weird.
It is super weird. The Friday night game with the Purdue Boilermakers. We will be live during that game talking about the Packers because Friday night is when we do our Packers shows. So might have to split screen us and the Badgers. But Jake, you ready to talk some Brewers?
I am. We're hitting the home stretch here, so we got we're still playing good baseball. I feel like, even though we took a couple consecutive L's this week, but I still think that they're, putting some good at bats together, pitching well. I mean, they're still playing good. I'm not worried about them one bit. So, with that being said, let's get into our power pair. My power pair position player, I went with Sal Frelick. And before I get into the numbers, I hate that we have to call him Frelick now because I like calling him Frelick. I feel like that's a cooler name. I don't know why, but Frelick is who I went with. 9 of 24 this past week. 3 runs, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, 3 walks, 1 stolen base, and only 1 strikeout for the Italian Stallion.
Nice.
That's a 375 batting average, a 444 on base percentage, a 458 slugging percentage, and a 903 OPS. So could say he's been playing pretty damn good. And also, as always, giving us a defense, right? Then we get into my power pair pitcher. That's I had to sound that one out, otherwise that would have been a tongue tire. I went with Freddie Peralta. I know that he lost the game. Hi, Tim. But he did pitch well, in my opinion. It was considered a quality start. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 0 walks, and 6 strikeouts. That's a 1.50 ERA and a 0.67 WHIP. So he still was doing his thing. And then my underrated performer was Carlos Santana. The guy's just steady Eddie, in my opinion. You know what you're going to get from him, and that's honestly a good feeling. 6 of 22. 4 runs, 1 double, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, 3 walks, and only 3 strikeouts for Carlos Santana. So good eye from him and Frelick this week. 273 average, 346 on base percentage, a 591 slug, and a 937 OPS. He touches a lot of bases.
Damn, that is a lot of bases. All right, so speaking of guys touching a lot of bases, my power hitter position player, I went with William Contreras. He's on a 7-game hitting streak right now. So he's he's literally 3 games away from having his 3rd double-digit hitting streak of the season, which is wild if he's able to pull that off, which is funny because I said wild and they call him Wild Bill. So unintended, but I'll take it. I'll say what I want to say about William Contreras for when we talked about that game specifically. But for my power pitcher and underrated performer, I wanted to highlight a couple of bullpen guys. So for my power pitcher, I went with Abner Uribe. He made 4 appearances over the last week, pitched 4 innings, did not give up any hits, and only gave up 1 walk with 3 strikeouts. So good work by Abner Uribe. Somebody we really didn't figure was going to be as big a part of the plan as Abner Uribe has become, especially now with Elvis Peguero going on to the injured list today for the next 15 days. And then actually it's retroactive to the 17th, which is Sunday. So it'll be 12 days from today, not 15. So he'll be ready before the playoffs. And then for my underrated performer, I went with Mr. Underrated Performer. The reason we do this segment for all of the teams we cover, Holby Milner. Mr. Underrated Performer himself made 3 appearances over the last week, pitched 2 1/3 innings, 0 hits, 0 walks, no base runners against Holby Milner, just nothing doing. He comes into the game, you feel very comfortable, leads the bullpen in appearances, which we will talk about. But let's start with game 3. So before we jump into this, I just want to give Jake and I just a little pat on the back, not a big one because we were off by a game, but we both predicted 5 and 2 weeks last week. We
Uh-huh.
predicted to lose one to the Marlins and split the first two with the Cardinals, but we did both predict a sweep over the Nationals. But I mean, we predicted 5 and 2, and we were 4 and 3, so close. But let's start with last Wednesday.
All these games that the Brewers lose are winnable games too. They never get blown out. So
I feel like that's why people get crabby about it, and I want to talk about that when we talk about the third Marlins game. But it's not a big deal.
Well, we're going to talk about the third Marlins game right now. So
the third Nationals game. That's what I said. I think that's what I meant. I don't know if that's what I said, but that's what I meant.
Okay. I was just going to say we'll
talk about people whining in a bunch of segments. So
yeah, and then we'll give some perspective on why you should stop crying about the additions that we made.
Just in general.
Deadline. Yeah. So in general. So in this one, we got what's up, y'all? Daniel Taylor, how we doing? Yeah, I just called you Daniel. We got a taste of Trevor McGill as the starter and Colin Ray coming in the second inning. And I think because it went so well this time is why they went with it again. So I had no complaints the first time around. 1 inning pitched, 1 hit for McGill, 1 K. Colin Ray came in, gave you 4 2/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. So I mean, Colin Ray, every time he comes in, he gives the team a chance to win the game. And that's literally all you can ask for from a guy that's going to pitch multiple innings. Right?
That's actually what Brandon Woodruff says every time he's interviewed. He said, I just want to pitch and give the team a chance to win. So for you to say that about Colin Ray, and that's the way that Brandon Woodruff approaches his starts, I will take that.
Yeah, but so that's the thing. That's how I feel about Adrian Hauser too. Is like, here's the thing about Adrian Hauser though. He's either completely shutting you down where you have no chance against that sinker, or he just gives up 5 runs. Like there is no in between.
And it's not 50-50 either. Like he's like 2 really shut down and then 1 kind of and then like 2 like 6 innings, 2 earned runs or less appearances.
Yeah,
it's not that it's one or the other.
Yeah, it's not like like you said, it's not like every other start. It's like, oh, he gives up 5 runs and then he shuts you down for 0 runs. No, he consistently is a good pitcher. Obviously, he's a starter in the MLB, which is like honestly hard to do. So, I'll send you guys photos from Miami. I'll be there Friday and Saturday for the games. Miller Park Mike live from Miami. Love to hear that. Love to hear that. We'll post them on the page for you if you keep them appropriate for all ages. But Colin Ray, he was tremendous. Shafin, yes, I'm going to call him Shafin, was good in this one. 0.2 innings, so 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 1 K. And Bryce Wilson again. This guy just he is the Hobie Miller this year, in my opinion. 2 2/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, 2 Ks. The Brewers didn't score a run in this one. They didn't hit with runners in scoring position. It happens. They left 9 people on base, so it's not for lack of getting on base. Just sometimes you just don't cash in. It is what it is.
It's just like it's usually a matter of them not being strung together is really what it ends up boiling down to. Christopher is excited for stats in all caps. So Taylor said he's surprised we sent Ray down, but happy to see Julio on track to come back. Julio was activated today. That was part of the moves. Colin Ray being sent down is just one of those things where there's going to be shuffling of the roster as the team begins preparing for the playoffs. So I think we might see Colin Ray make 1 more start, and then whether or not he makes the playoff roster is really going to depend on the health of the bullpen, in my opinion. Whether they try to piggyback any starters together, we'll see when the playoff roster comes out, but Ray is one of those guys who's going to be kind of on that bubble as far as the playoff roster goes. And Julio Teheran, another one who is basically on that same bubble. It's really, in my opinion, going to come down to who's healthy in the bullpen.
I was going to wait, but since we're bringing playoffs up, I had a question I wanted to ask you. So there's predictions that the Brewers are going to play the Cubs in the wild card round. We're going to host them, right? So I wanted to ask you what your confidence level on us beating them in that wild card round, like out of 10. Like, give me a number range.
I'd say like a 7.
Okay, so I'm more like an 8. I think we could beat them. I think that would be a tremendous baseball series. That'd be good for baseball to have,
Yeah,
a
that's
little
100%.
rivalry in wild card.
Mhm.
Although a part of me is kind of hoping that the Reds kind of sneak in there because then that's like a 10.5 confidence level. So then I started talking with my guy at work about my confidence level of them beating the Dodgers in the next round. And I was like, I really can see them beating the Dodgers here. I like truly can. I'm like, when you look at the construction of the team, you look at the top 3 starters, the Dodgers, who the heck was the guy? Urias. They had a pitcher, Urias, who's kind of he was one of their better guys, and
He's
he was a lefty,
suspended
so that
now.
was kind of an Achilles heel for us, seriously. But he's out of baseball right now, so I was like, bro, I'm honestly at like a 7, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
How
that's
you
fair.
feeling?
Christopher said baseball October is fun. I'm glad the Brewers balled this year. I don't think anybody had the Brewers 6 up in the division with 2 weeks to go in the season. I don't think
Nobody.
there's anybody that predicted that.
No, neither did us.
Not
We
I was
didn't
saying
either.
not even a month and a half ago when the trade deadline was over and we were talking to Vinny Artino, did we think that this was going to be not over, but I mean the Brewers' magic number is 6.
Yeah.
So Taylor said he
Oh,
did. Just kidding.
JK.
I was about to ask for you to show me your receipts, but
Yeah, liar.
so third game of the Marlins series, top of the first inning. The best hitter in baseball started with a double. That's Luis Arias. This
Yep.
will happen again. So following this, a strikeout, a single, a sac fly, and a strikeout. Game was 1-0 after that. After that, I mean, a bunt single in the first inning, or in the fifth inning, not the first inning, fifth inning, a fielder's choice, and then another single made the game 2-1. Pair of flyouts after that. Elvis Peguero pitched a 1-2-3-6 with 2 Ks. Abner Uribe went 1-2 walk 3 in the 7th. Yoel Payamps went 1-2 single 3 in the 8th, and then Devin Williams pitched a 1-2-3 9th on 11 pitches, 0 stress. So, no, sorry, I'm reading the wrong game. My bad. I had game 3 written on 2 games. All right. Anyways, back to game 3, not game 4. Arias did lead this game off with a single though. Trevor McGill only needed 9 pitches to then follow that with a 1-2-3 inning. Colin Ray came after that, a 1-2-3 second inning with 2 strikeouts. Top of the third, Josh Donaldson made a really nice pick on a grounder. Colin Ray threw a pitch that turned Luis Arias into an aluminum can and just crumpled him in the batter's box. So that was really impressive to see from Colin Ray. That was part of a 1-2-3 inning. The fifth inning, a leadoff single got to second on Carlos Santana falling into the dugout, making a catch. That's just one of those things where the ball technically went out of play. So the runner gets to advance, scored on a 2-out single. Just kind of is what it is. Chafin started the 7th with a strikeout looking, gave up a double, and then Bryce Wilson came in, gave up another double that made the game 2-0. The story of this game for the Brewers, they had runners on base in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th innings.
Oh.
So all but 2. They grounded into double plays 3 times.
Yep.
Marlins do lead Major League Baseball in double plays, so it does make sense. Of those 7 innings that the Brewers had runners on, 5 of them were leadoff hitters. So 5 times out of 7 leadoff guys were on. And then the 9 runners left on base that you mentioned, the Brewers struck out 12 times with runners on base.
Gross.
That to me is where the 9 left on base comes from, is not even putting the ball in play.
Yeah.
This was only the 3rd time the Brewers have been shut out in the entire second half of the season, so I don't think it's a trend or indicative of what the rest of the season holds or the playoffs. Basically, I'll just throw this out there because we're going to talk about it in another game. Using Trevor McGill as an opener essentially takes a high leverage inning later, moves it to the beginning, and it gives you the opportunity to have Colin Ray pitch from the 4 through 9 batters one extra time and can maybe help him go a little bit longer. So that's essentially the rationale there. So let's go to game 4 from the Marlins. This is last Thursday.
Yeah, Brewers got back in the win column in this one, so that was nice. Adrian Hauser started this one, got his 6th win of the year. He's 6-4 in the year now. 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, only 1 walk for the entire pitching staff, and that was from Uribe, and 5 strikeouts. The team had 8, pitching staff had 8 strikeouts as a unit, gave up 2 earned runs and 6 hits total. So, I mean, pretty dang good stuff. Peguero came in this one, 0s across the board, 2 strikeouts. Uribe, only the 1 walk. Payamps gave up a hit and had 1 K, and Devin Williams got his 34th save of the season. So, scoring-wise in this one, Tyrone Taylor was the offense, in my opinion. He was the jump starter and the finisher. So, he had 2 doubles, up to 12 on the year. Got 2 RBIs from those doubles, 26 RBI in the year for him. Tellez had a sacrifice fly. He's up to 45 RBI. Sal Frelick had a 2-out knock, up to 21 RBIs. Contreras and Donaldson also had doubles. 2 doubles now for Donaldson, 34 doubles for Contreras. And they were 3 for 12 runners in scoring position. So this is more – I don't expect them to be 3 for 12 because that's not like great percentage-wise, but I expect them to have a lot of people on base and have a lot more opportunity. So I'm okay with the opportunity number. I'm not okay with the cashing in number. I would like that around more like 5 for 12. I can live with 5 for 12.
So let me ask you this. Would you rather be, let's say 4 for 12, we'll meet you in the middle. Okay. 4 for 12, say batting 333, or would you rather be, say, 3 for 6 to be batting 500 with runners in scoring position?
Oof.
It's a really easy answer.
That's a situational question, I feel like. I mean, I'd rather be 3 for 6, but
I wouldn't.
You'd rather be 4 for.
I'd rather have more hits with runners in scoring position because that means you're putting more runners in scoring position than to have a higher percentage.
Well, I mean that's fair, but I feel like if you can score early, the Brewers have a bullpen where they can. You know what I mean? That's kind of where the situational thing.
My thing, where I come into this is more opportunities only increases your expected run output is what I would say.
Oh, right. I do agree because that's why I said we had 12 runners in scoring position. So I mean, lots of opportunities. You're not gonna be mad at all the opportunities. People, we had a game later in this week. I don't remember what game it is, but okay. But we went 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position, and people are like, "Oh my god, only 1 for 11." It's like, dude, we're getting people in position to score.
Right.
That's like half the damn battle.
Right.
But you can't fix stupid. You know what they say.
Can't win them all.
Anyways, go ahead, buddy.
All right. So now this is where the best hitter in baseball started with a double. Luis Arias, he's an absolute monster. He really is. He's a great baseball player. No way to dance around that. Then a strikeout and a single and a sac fly scored him. That made the game 1-0. 5th inning, a bunt single, fielder's choice and a single made the game 2-1 Marlins. A pair of flyouts followed, and then, like I said before, incorrectly, Elvis Peguero 1-2-3-6 with 2 strikeouts. Abner Uribe a 1-2 walk 3 7th inning. Yoel Payamps with a 1-2 single 3 8th inning, and then Devin Williams a 9th inning, 11 pitches to go 1-2-3 0 stress. So the leadoff batter was only on base twice the entire game for the Marlins.
I like that.
3 of Adrian Hauser's 5 strikeouts were looking.
Mm-hmm.
So that's impressive for Adrian Hauser. And then the bullpen, 4 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 walk, 0 runs, and 3 strikeouts. So great work by the bullpen.
Definitely was not fucking around.
Yeah. Got some BS in the comments. Some literal BS. So the fourth inning is really where the Brewers did basically most of their damage. William Contreras, sorry, not the fourth. That's the fifth inning. Getting ahead of myself. The fourth inning, William Contreras led off with a double, tagged to third on a flyout by Willie Adames. Dove into third base. Not the most graceful slide that I have ever seen. He kind of tumbled in and just kind of had the back of his hand resting on the base. I mean, it's not pretty, but it worked for William Contreras. So it works. Followed by a Rowdy Tellez sac fly that tied the game at 1. Andre Monasterio in the fifth inning led off with a single. Bryce Durang sacrifice bunt. The strategy there seemed to be just to tie the game to get the starter out. Tyrone Taylor fouled out with a double that was a couple feet away from being a home run to the bullpen. That tied the game at 2. Sal Frelick followed with a single to right field. Tyrone Taylor, another great slide. I said it last week. I think he's the Brewers' best slider on the team. Head first, feet first, doesn't matter. Tyrone Taylor is going to be safe. Taylor said it doesn't matter how you get there. All that matters is you got there. That's 100%. Originally called out, which I don't know if it was a horrible angle by the home plate umpire or what, but Tyrone Taylor wasn't even close to being tagged, so that play was challenged and then was ruled safe. That made the game 3-2.
Do you remember what I said to you about that?
Brett said, I was biting my fingers, though. I hate it when they dive head first. Mitchell, yeah, happy when he's rehabbing. And Woodruff years ago. That was Jimmy Nelson that got hurt on first base. But it's more accurate, especially at home plate where it's flat and level as opposed to diving into second base where there's a bump. So at home plate, it doesn't bother me as much, but go ahead.
I remember telling we were talking during the game, and I was like, I understand why the ump called that because of what the angle that he was at. But dude, you can't put yourself in that position to make us burn our fucking challenge. That's trash to me.
Yeah. And I think the reason he was originally called out was because the ball was there kind of first.
And he saw the guy moving his arm and swiping, so he's like, oh, he probably tagged him.
Mm-hmm.
But like, dude, you can't make a probably or a guess. It's not an educated guess situation. This is a right or wrong situation. You know what I mean?
So, seventh inning, Bryce Durang led off with a single, stole second base, his 22nd stolen base of the season, which is impressive for a guy who spent almost a month in AAA.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tyrone Taylor hit another double, made the game 4-2. Now, what I want to throw out here is just a few takeaways. One, Abner Uribe threw all 5 of the fastest pitches in this game. The 8th inning, Willie Adames led off with a walk. Rowdy Tellez struck out, and then Josh Donaldson grounded into a double play. Josh Donaldson's double play was 107 miles an hour off the bat. That was the second fastest exit velocity of this game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So my overall takeaway from the Marlins series is they took 3 of 4 from a team that's fighting to get in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Adrian Hauser was back and looked solid. He's now 3-0 against the Marlins. He faced 5 batters twice, and that was the most of any batters that he faced in any inning. So he never faced more than 5 batters in an inning, which is actually really good. His sinker looked great. His fastball was really good. He even used the change or a curveball a little bit, which was interesting to see, but he landed it for some strikes, which was good to see. And then with his sinker is really impressive, and I had to write this down. If we face a team that has a lot of left-handed hitters, I would like to see Adrian Hauser get a start. So this is the batting average for left-handed and right-handed hitters against his sinker. So right-handed hitters bat 290 against it, and left-handed hitters bat 237. So a right-handed pitcher, that pitch plays better against lefties than righties.
You know, that's going to be an interesting debate. Who's going to be the 4th starter in the playoffs, man? Because you know the top 3.
Oh, yeah. So those are locked.
It could be like a by a committee kind of thing. So I agree with you.
They really could, and they're in a position, and this kind of ties into Brett's question /comment. it's not about the Marlins, but talking about Ray and Julio again, kind of like Taylor mentioned this a little bit at the beginning of the show, but we've been talking about it and kind of talking through it. And same with Elvis. His thing is retroactive, so he'll be basically ready for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Ray and Julio are guys that you could pair with Miley and Hauser, so you could kind of do, a 1, 2, 3, and then a 4A, 4B, and 5A, 5B, and kind of pair and piggyback some of these guys. I mean, that's an option. I'm sure it's something that Counsell and Matt Arnold are discussing.
You would have, in my opinion, 4A, 4B would have to be Miley and Hauser. That would be my 4A, 4B. They kind of complement each other in some ways. They're different styles in some ways.
You can really make the case of putting any of them together. I would make Miley the 4A. I would want him to start the fourth game.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, I kind of like Colin Ray after that maybe, because he's got some strikeout stuff. So you face Miley, a guy who's going to get you to ground out a shit ton, and then you got to face Colin Ray, who's going to get you to ground out a lot, but also give you some strikeouts.
That's fair. And
then you pair Hauser and Tehran, who are pretty similar pitchers.
Yeah, just Hauser still has the velocity.
Right. So I mean, there's interesting things you can do with the starting lineup there, the starting rotation.
Be interesting.
Taylor said to maybe use Wilson for 2 innings and go from there. Wilson's another guy you could use as another piggyback starter because he has been a starter in previous seasons. It's an option, and like I said, I'm sure Craig Counsell and Matt Arnold are discussing all of these options.
Yeah, I trust Craig to figure it out.
Yeah. Last thing I want to say on the 4th game of the Marlins series, just because you felt like Tyrone Taylor was this game, his last 30 games, he's batting .275.
Oh, damn.
327 on base percentage and a 462 slug. If he can get his on base percentage up just a little bit, he's going to be a really crucial piece down the stretch and in the playoffs.
I think he's already proving that. He's kind of like Willie Adames Light, in my opinion, where he can be a spark plug to the offense, man. Everybody kind of likes him. He's got speed. He's got power to all fields. It's kind of like Willie Adames Light, in my opinion.
The defense, I can see that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, for a guy who basically 2 months ago, we were like, yeah, if he comes back, sure. If not, we have Sal and Joey Weimer and maybe Garrett Mitchell will be back for the end of the season. But now it's really like we can't take him out of the lineup because he's been so good.
I know. Just like 2 months ago, we were like, yeah, he's probably going to be gone because we have so many guys coming up.
Right. And that still might be the case, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Taylor said we can seriously mess with teams with those combos after the big 3 pitch. And that's 100%. If the big 3 give you anything of 6 or more innings in the first 3 games of a series, if it even gets that far, there's so many combinations that the Brewers can use with all those pitchers and stuff. So that might be a really fluid situation. So Brett pulled a Jake by saying Burns, Woodruff, Willie, Miley. I think he meant Freddie.
Yeah.
You think they'll pull McGill from the first few innings and pull him back to relievers? Yes. And then he said, I think Hauser should be a reliever for the postseason. Same with Julio. And that's totally within the realm of possibility. Any of those guys, and I do think Wade Miley would be the 4th game starter. He said he did it for you. I do think Wade Miley would be that 4th game starter in the next series should the Brewers win 2 of the first 3 in the wild card round.
Let's just win 3. Just win 3 in a row, and then we can just relax for a little bit.
Well, first round is 2 out of 3. Then the next series is 3 out of 5.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry. So many playoff teams in baseball now. Damn.
Well, I don't know why they don't just make them all 7-game series.
Yeah, that's so dumb to me. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little WNBA-ish, if you ask me.
I don't disagree with you. For a team that, I shouldn't say a team, a league that has the longest regular season to have the shortest playoff structure, it's weird.
It's backwards. Okay.
It is backwards.
Why are we doing that?
Okay. So let's switch to the Nationals. Game 1 of the Nationals. What stood out to you from that game?
Whew. what stood out or what went out of the damn stadium in this first
Dang.
game, man. Wade Miley started this one. He got a W. He's up to 8-4 on the year now. McGill got a hold, his 4th. Uribe got a hold, his 7th. And Williams got his 35th save. So Miley went 5 2/3, gave up 5 hits, 3 earned runs, all in the first inning, 2 walks, and 3 Ks. It's all in the first inning, right? I'm remembering this correctly. I think we were down 3-0 in this one, if I remember correctly.
You're correct. Yep.
Brain is activated. Gotcha.
Attaboy.
Trevor McGill gave up 1 hit and 1 K. Uribe, zeros across the board. No hits, no earned runs, no walks, no Ks. And Devin Williams just came in and just was in boss mode and got 3 strikeouts. Now, for RBIs in this one, Santana with 2, Contreras with 3. Contreras is up to 73 RBI. Santana is up to 75 on the season. And Santana and Contreras decided to go back-to-back in this one. So that was exciting. Santana also hit one in the 8th inning, but Contreras' home run was, I don't even know how to describe it. I want to call it a missile. I want to call it way the hell out of here, but I cannot believe it went over those seats, over the dugout, or over the bullpen. That was freaking
literally
insane.
out of the stadium.
Literally. And they showed a picture of some guy went and got it and took a picture with it. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, some really interesting things with this game. First of all, I do want to mention that Christian Yelich leaving this game was planned. And then recently, as far as recently as yesterday, he was doing workouts and he's not going to the injured list. So that is good.
Good.
I haven't seen yet. It's probably going to come out, I would say, within the next 10 minutes, the lineup for tonight. They did say on the radio today that they were putting the tarps out because they're maybe going to have some rain in St. Louis. So hopefully that doesn't delay the game at all. But first inning, he's a Brewer killer. Lane Thomas led off with a home run on a ball that was 6 inches above the zone.
Yep.
That's just obnoxious. It was followed by a double and then a fly out and then another double on another abnormally high pitch. Followed by another double, made the game 3-0, like Jake said in the first inning. Wade Miley much better in the second inning, only 10 pitches to get a 1-2-3. Gave up a 1-out walk in the third inning and picked him off. Wade Miley's pickoff move is elite. Taylor said, I want to see the ball clear everything without hitting the ground and leave the stadium and be like 460 plus or whatever it would be. No, I think Aaron Judge is already kind of locked up with the Yankees, so I don't think that's going to happen for the Brewers.
Yeah, right.
Fourth inning, gave up a leadoff walk, went 1-2-3 after that. Fifth inning, another 1-2-3. Sixth inning, Wade Miley got the first 2 outs, then gave up a single, and then McGill came in to get the third out. McGill came back out for the 7th, gave up a 1-out double, but that was it. Now, McGill pitched an inning and a third, so he recorded 4 outs, faced 5 batters. He threw 19 pitches. 11 of them were 100 miles an hour or faster.
Dude, that's crazy how he can do that.
I just think of that dude on TikTok where it's like, no curveball, no changeup, nothing but fucking gas. And that's Trevor McGill. Brett said he just saw about JC Mejia. Yeah, he got his second PED positive. Stanzolol it's basically a steroid. So he already had an 80-game suspension last year, so he's done for a full year. Not a super crucial piece to the bullpen, really. He was really just kind of one of those placeholder guys. So I'm not super concerned about what it means for the Brewers. But 8th inning, Abner Uribe, first out. Carlos Santana made a really nice pick at first base. And then Abner Uribe was dealing with cramping. Just, it's good that it wasn't anything else besides that. Like he was kind of stretching out his shoulder, things like that. Taylor said it's a bad look for us. It's really not. That was a decision he made. It's not like the Brewers were feeding it to him. That was a bad look. That's really just a bad look on Mejia. So, in my opinion. But Abner Uribe did get a 1-2-3 8th inning on only 6 pitches. And then Devin Williams, you mentioned he came in for a shutdown 9th inning. He got down 3-0 to the first batter, came all the way back, and just went K, 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 W.
Good thing you ended that with a W.
Yes, I agree. All right. But you mentioned the home runs, the fifth inning. Rowdy Tellez led off with a walk, 2 strikeouts by the Brewers. Christian Yelich drew a 2-out walk, and then William Contreras hit that longest home run of the season, 456 feet to tie the game on the first pitch that he saw. That was 109.7 miles an hour off the bat.
Dude, that son of a bitch was so high, dude. It flew so far. I watched the highlight. What the hell? How'd they word it? I don't remember how they worded it. Like mashes a baseball or something like that. And I was like, yeah, they're underselling this for sure.
Carlos Santana worked a full cone as the next batter and then made it back-to-back home runs to give the Brewers the lead 4-3. So it was really one of those things where it's like, oh, here we go. The Nationals are up 3-0. And then the Brewers just go 3-run home run, solo shot, back-to-back. And now it's like, all right, yep, Brewers have the lead. So goodbye, Washington. 8th inning, Santana leading off, destroyed a home run to the second deck. That was his 299th home run. His 298th home run actually gave him 1,000 RBI for his career. So Carlos Santana might hit, I shouldn't say might, he's going to hit his 300th home run and his 1,000th RBI in a Brewers uniform. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
That was essentially it. Brewers won 5-3. The Nationals came out swinging in this game. Mm-hmm. Taylor said he should have made the comment that he hit it all the way to Sheboygan like Anders' field goal in the last preseason game. Should have. Opportunity missed. So the Nationals came out swinging. Wade Miley talked about this in his postgame, and he credited William Contreras for changing the game plan. And then he was able to rebound nicely after giving up 3 runs in the first inning. So they kind of switched up the game plan. So really credit to William Contreras for not only being a great batter, but also being great behind the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Yelich and Mark Canha were both back for this game. And then I thought this was interesting. Coming into this game, the Brewers were last in Major League Baseball in September home runs. And then they just score 5 runs off of home runs. Like, is there a more Brewer thing to do than to do that?
Is there a more baseball thing to do?
Trevor McGill, his fastball curveball combo, when it's accurate, is devastating.
Agreed.
To go from 101 to 84 and to be able to put both of them in the same spot is disgusting.
Definitely tough to handle at 6'8". I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I will say I like Andre Monasterio batting 9th. It almost kind of gives the Brewers like 2 leadoff hitters with how well Andre Monasterio has been batting lately. Garrett Mitchell starting in this game. So this was last Friday, rehabbing in AAA. I'm really, 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 really hoping he has a chance to make the playoff roster.
Wouldn't that be something, dude?
Oh man, that'd be so great. And actually with this game, the Brewers passed the Houston Astros for the 5th best record in baseball, which should the Brewers and Astros meet in the playoffs, that would matter.
My guy Keith might be right. He said 4th best record. I don't know about that, but he said 4th best record.
I don't think it's going to happen. We'd have to pass the Dodgers. I just don't see it.
I don't see it either.
They're as far ahead of the Brewers as the Brewers are of the Cubs and the Reds. So
yeah,
I personally don't see it. I don't watch wrestling, so I don't know what that is.
Rey Mysterio walk theme music. Who should have Rey Mysterio theme music is my question. Is he talking about Gary Mitchell?
Gotta be talking about McGill, unless he's talking about somebody else. Linda said you guys are right on most of the time. Hey, I'll take most of the time. I wouldn't profess to be always right.
The arrogant part of me wants to say all the time, but I'll take the compliment.
Monasterio. Mysterio.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I will take the compliment though. And actually, this was like somebody commented on one of the stat projections that we put out for the Packers and be like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll just trust the guys on the internet that make up stats based on nothing. And I went back and I looked at our stat projections from last year, and it's like, we were actually pretty close on a lot of things.
It's not like we're just throwing numbers out there, man. We're legitimately doing educated guesses, looking at stuff, weighing options. Like that's why when we do our score projections, we do head and heart, because we can give one where, our heart is talking and one where our head is like, okay, we're actually thinking this. What if this happens? This is probably going to happen. It's going to be tough to stop this guy on the other team. Like, People
Yeah.
don't have to be D-bags.
We are just, a couple guys on the internet, but we put a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the comment, Linda. We put a lot of work into it. All right, what's up to you from game 2? And the brains.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Jake just said something about not giving us a big head. Then Taylor goes and makes a comment like that.
Thanks, bud. So you asked me what stands out from this game. I just want to skip to the 8th inning, to be honest with you. But
I
get
get
there.
it. I have it written not only in all caps, but I also wrote it in bold. Like, it's written in bold and in all caps.
It's coming. Got some stats for you after that. But Corbin Burns started this one.
Christopher was waiting for stats.
It's my job, bros, he said. Corbin Burns, 5 2/3 in this one, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks. Got to get the walks down, man. I expect him to get the walks down. 9 Ks for Burns, so nothing new there. Elvis Baguero got his 21st hold of the season, going 1 1/3 inning. Gave up 1 hit, had 2 strikeouts. Joel Payamps, who gave up 3 hits, earned run and a K, ended up getting the win in this one. He's now 6-4 on the year, wins and losses. And because of some legendary stuff from Mark Hanna, which we're going to get into, Hobie Milner came in the 9th, had 1 inning pitched, 0 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, 0 Ks. But you know what? I'm okay with that. He just shut the door completely. Donaldson, Canna, Taylor, Adames, and Tellez all got RBIs in this one. Donaldson up to 18 RBIs in the season. Canna up to 55 after a 5 RBI day. Taylor 27, Adames 77, Tellez 46. Taylor and Canna had home runs. So let's get into it, man. Let's relive the moment that was.
So I'm going to start with the pitching first. So Burns in the top of the first. Only 11 pitches to strike out the side. Got the first one looking, the next 2 swinging. The second inning, only 11 pitches again to go 1, 2, 3. The third inning, he gave up a leadoff home run and then went 1, 2, 3 after that. Going to the 6th inning, a 1-out walk, a 2-out single, another single, a walk, another single, and another walk. And Elvis Guerrero came in to finish the 6th inning. The Nats had closed the gap to 5-4. So really just, like you mentioned, the walks for Corbin Burns. All 3 of them came in that 6th inning, sandwiched with 3 singles as well. Kind of had the rails go off for Corbin Burns a little bit. Yeah. But Elvis Guerrero finished the 6th, then pitched the 7th, had a leadoff single that stole second base, but then went strikeout looking, ground out to finish the 7th. Yoel Payamps pitched the 8th, gave up a single, got a strikeout, and then a pop-out, another 2 singles that tied the game at 5, and then got a pop-out to finish the 8th. You mentioned already the 9th inning, 1, 2, 3 inning by Hobie Milner. Now, the 2-out damage is what stood out to me for this game. So in the 6th inning, 5 straight batters reached with 2 outs. Ugh. It's just putting all of your base runners into 1 inning, and that's just stringing guys getting on base together. That's just, honestly, it's good baseball by the Nationals. Like, I'm not, like, I get that it happened against us, but, like, I'm not mad at it. Like, I respect it. It's good baseball.
Yeah.
So, the bottom of the 1st inning, this was wild. So, Corbin Burns throws 11 pitches to strike out the side in the 1st inning. The bottom of the 1st inning, the Brewers forced the Washington starter to throw 47 pitches.
Yep.
Holy shit. I don't think I've ever seen that.
That's a lot.
Sal Frelick started with an opposite field single with 2 strikes. William Contreras singled to center field with 2 strikes. Carlos Santana drew a 4-pitch walk. Mark Canna, with the bases loaded, got a 2-strike single, moved everybody up 90 feet. Willie Adames had a sac fly with 2 strikes. That made the game 2-0. And then Rowdy Tellez hit a little cue ball shot over the shortstop's glove into center field. That made the game 3-0. Just really good stringing things together for the Brewers, honestly, and a lot of it with 2 strikes. So that was really good to see. Skipping to the 4th inning, Tyrone Taylor led off with a home run. Sal Frelick just missed having a home run after that. It was a double off the wall, and he was stranded. The 5th inning, Willie Adames led off with a double. Just a great hit by him.
Yep.
Rowdy Tellez snuck a single past the first baseman. Josh Donaldson followed with an RBI single that made the game 5-1. And then Sal Frelick was robbed of another hit by the center fielder. It was just a really nice catch by the center fielder. And then the 8th inning comes, and this happened against Kyle Finnegan, who is a really good pitcher. I actually wanted him as one of my trade targets at the trade deadline. So Kyle Finnegan is a very, very good pitcher.
Dude, his splitter is disgusting.
Yeah, he's good. So for this to happen against him, it's a big deal. Tyrone Taylor had a 1-out double. Sal Frelick followed with a single with 2 strikes. William Contreras grounded into a fielder's choice. Carlos Santana on a 1-2 count came all the way back to draw a walk and load the bases. And Mark Canha, on the first pitch that he sees, hits a grand slam, the second of his career. And he doesn't just like toss the bat. He doesn't just flip the bat. He fucking launches it up into the air. Tim said me and the parents were at this game. I'm super jealous. This happened with 2 outs. Hits a grand slam and just launches the bat in the air. And seeing like Mark Canha, who's normally like a really like even keel dude, like showing a bunch of emotion, I was like, oh shit.
Dude, I'm getting freaking goosebumps talking about
it. Why? It's like he got traded away from the Mets and like a bear just woke up inside of Mark Canha. Like, dude is just a monster. And Jake's going to get into it a little bit later after we finish these last couple games. But, I mean, the grand slam and the bat flip, it was just...
Bro, so we had a really long day, like, personally on Saturday. So we woke up really early. My son had a fishing tournament. And then my sister got married. So from the fishing tournament, we went to her wedding. And then from there, we went to, God damn, I can't think of Mine Shaft. And we went out to eat. So we were eating. So we were there for a few hours. Then we went and played games. And then we had to go to see her grandma before her grandma flew out. So we did all that shit, right? And then we get home, and it's the top of the 8th inning. So I had to rewatch this game to get my notes done correctly so I can understand everything. We talked about this one. But we get to the top 8th inning. We see the top of the 8th inning. And all of a sudden, literally the first time I see the Brewers batting is when Mark Canha just decides to just yoke a baseball. And I just let out a freaking lion's roar because I was so freaking excited. I was watching the score, as we were going all day and stuff. And I was like, God damn it, they tied it up, and all of a sudden I just let out this big giant roar, and my girlfriend just texted me from all the way upstairs, which is 2 stories away from me right now, by the way. And she's like, Jacob, really? I'm like, sorry, he hit a grand slam.
Don't judge me.
That was a moment, and it was awesome that I got to watch that with my son, and he got to see like my passion, I guess, like how much I actually care about winning and stuff like that. So that was a great moment.
That was awesome. Okay, so what stood out to you about the finale of this game?
The finale. Well, not our best outing, but you know what? It is what it is. The Brewers are like dangerously good at home, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think if we steal road games and this shit comes back to Milwaukee, with tied, whether we're playing the Dodgers or the Braves, we got a fucking chance, dude. Like, I'm being dead serious.
A real chance.
Like, seriously, it doesn't matter who pitches at home because they're all better at home, right? It's kind of like in basketball, like your reserve players are better at home. Like, if our ace guys, because we have more than one, if our ace guys do their shit on the road and we come away with a W or 2 and this shit's coming back to Milwaukee, you're in trouble.
It's over.
You're in trouble. But in this one, Brandon Woodruff, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 6 Ks. I mean, that's Brandon Woodruff stat line. Hobie Milner, 1 inning pitch, 0s across the board. Bryce Wilson, a third of an inning, gave up 1 hit and 1 walk. Shafin comes in for the rest of that inning, 2/3 of an inning, 0s across the board. Devin Williams pitched in this one, 1 inning, 2 walks, 2 Ks. And Vieira, 2 innings pitched, 1 walk, 1 K. Sack fly from Santana in the 6th inning to tie the game at 1, got him to 76 RBIs. He needs 18 RBIs to set a new career high, by the way. We were one. This is the game. We were 1 for 11 runners in scoring position and 9 left on base. But like you said, more bites at the apple. That's a saying that we've used for the Milwaukee Brewers before. So more bites at the apple is a good thing.
So this was the second straight Sunday game that went into extra innings. Just kind of a weird coincidence, I guess. The second inning, a 2-out solo shot was the same guy who hit one the day before. Was the only damage in the second. Going all the way to the 6th inning, 2-out double, and Brandon Woodruff stayed in the game at 104 pitches.
Yeah.
That really surprised me. I'm not going to lie. He did finish the 6th inning, finished the game at 107 pitches for him. So Brandon Woodruff pitched 6 innings. He went 1, 2, 3, 3 of those 6.
I like it.
Yeah, so it's pretty solid. I'll take it. And only had in the 5th inning, had a 1-out single that was followed by 2 strikeouts. So, like you said, kind of just a Brandon Woodruff. The 8th inning, the Nationals had a leadoff double, sacrifice bunted, and then a walk brought Wilson out of the game and put Chafin in to face a left-handed hitter, and he get a ground ball from Washington's leadoff hitter, who is very fast. Willie Adames kind of spiked the relay, but Carlos Santana picked it, and Chafin came in, got a ground ball double play.
Yeah.
So that's really good to see. I'd like to see, like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 more appearances by Chafin of that type for me to feel confident enough to see him in a playoff game.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless we're winning by 3 or more runs.
Right.
And it's kind of just is what it is. But the 9th inning, Devin Williams went strikeout, walk, ground out. So scoreless 9th inning for him. Vieira got a deep fly out to lead off the top of the 10th. The runner got to 3rd, gave up a walk. So he had 1st and 3rd with 2 outs, another fly out, and Vieira was pumped to get through that inning. And then the 11th inning, another fly out got the runner to 3rd, and then a sac fly got him in that made the game 2-1. That ended up being the final score. But the Brewers in the 6th inning, Mark Canha had a leadoff single, stole second base again. William Contreras chose on his own to lay down a sacrifice bunt. Carlos Santana got a sac fly that tied the game. In this instance, it tied the game, but I'm just going to say this. William Contreras, don't ever do that again.
Yeah, you're the best hitter on this team.
Your bat is too good to be laying down sacrifice bunts to be trying to tie a game in the 6th inning when you're the home team and you're down by 1 run.
Yeah, you're facing a team that's, inferior to, you know what I mean? So, I mean, your bat could take the lead.
I was just going to say, if you're just willing to kind of concede the at-bat, like, swing for the fences, please.
Yeah, I agree.
That's one spot where I would condone swinging for the fences. 10th inning, Victor Caratini had a 1-out single. Andre Monasterio had to freeze at second base. He wanted to make sure it got through. Jason Lane held him at third base. That was the correct decision. If Andre Monasterio had been waved home, he would have been out by like 6 steps. I saw somebody on Twitter being like, Jason Lane needs to be fired for not sending one of our fastest runners. I'm like, no, he made the right choice. Andre Monasterio was like just rounding third base as the ball was already coming back into the infield.
Yeah, that guy was just going to bitch either way, so whatever.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm like, yeah, and if he gets thrown out at home, then you're like, oh, we need to fire Jason Lane for sending him.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So the Brewers got to a point where Sal Frelick drew a walk. The bases loaded were loaded for Mark Canha, grounded into a fielder's choice. They got the out at home. Same situation for William Contreras, bases loaded into another fielder's choice. Going to the 11th inning, bottom of the 11th, Bryce Durang bunts William Contreras over to third base. Willie Adames is intentionally walked, and then Rowdy Tellez hits a super hot liner that's picked by the first baseman, and William Contreras is caught in a rundown to end the game. Kind of just one of those games where it's just like baseball. This game. So I want to throw just a few things out. One, Mark Canha stealing 2 bases in the same game. Okay.
All right.
Tyrone Taylor's hit streak ended at 7 with this game. This was Hobie Milner's 69th appearance of the season.
Nice.
I had to work that in there. I couldn't resist.
Dude, I told you they find us.
But Oh, I found this one. I'm not going to lie to you. I saw that he made his 70th appearance against the Cardinals, and I'm like, I got to go back a game to when he pitched last. But my thing with this game is that people continue to complain about the Brewers not getting sweeps. And the fact of the matter is, if the Brewers won 2 of 3, they'd win 108 games over the course of the season. They'd win the opening playoff series and be off to a great start in the NLCS or the World Series.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. Yeah, sweeps would be nice, but I'm not ever going to complain about winning 2 out of 3 every time.
Dude, just literally win 2 out of every 3 and you'll win the championship. So
yes, you'll win literally everything.
Yeah, so that would be cool.
That would be cool. All right, so 2 games against the Cardinals. What stood out to you from game 1 against the Cardinals?
Well, like I said before, Freddie Peralta had a great outing. Uribe had a good outing, and Wilson also had a good outing. We didn't score in this one, but Adames got his 24th double of the year. And we grounded into a lot of goddamn double plays. And I just want to say, I feel like the baseball gods were on Adam Wainwright's shoulder in this one. Like, oh, this is your last time facing a division rival at home? Yeah, we'll give you a good one. Like, he gave up a run in every single outing this year, except this one. This was his first one of the season. It is what it is. But I'm really happy that he's gone and Yachty, he's going to be gone soon, and Yachty's gone, obviously, and they're kind of turning a new leaf over there in St. Louis, and hopefully we could beat up on them for the next couple seasons.
Look like a good leaf, if I'm being honest.
Man, but it is going to be a good leaf. But man, I'm so happy that we don't have to deal with Adam Wainwright anymore because I'm so sick and tired of striking out to a 76-mile-an-hour fastball.
I mean, Kyle Hendricks has a 77-mile-an-hour fastball, and can't touch that.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
All right, so my recap for this one is short because this game was obviously a 1-0. So I can't say that Wainwright going for his 200th win against the Milwaukee Brewers in St. Louis being his best start of the season surprises me. Over his career, he's been very good versus the Brewers, and knowing this is the very possibly the last time that he ever faces the Brewers, and is going for his 200th win in front of his home crowd, makes me feel that Wainwright put literally everything that was left in his gas tank into this game.
Yeah.
So it would not surprise me if Adam Wainwright makes 1 or 2 more starts this season if he gets absolutely rocked in one or both of them.
Well, we might be facing him again soon, so that would be great.
Maybe. It's going to depend on kind of how the Cardinals rotation works out. And I don't know if they have any off days or not.
It's interesting. Let me try to map it out while you continue.
I will still say you made Freddie Peralta your power pitcher this week off of this game. He did hold St. Louis to 4 hits over 6 innings pitched. Gave up 0 walks with 6 strikeouts, so that is good. I will take that from Freddie Peralta. And in true Freddie Peralta form, as he's been doing his last 4 starts, gave up 1 run on 1 solo home run. That's basically what Freddie Peralta's been doing. Abner Uribe and Bryce Wilson both pitched a scoreless inning. Abner Uribe hit 103 miles an hour on the radar gun.
That's fucking stupid.
That's insane.
No, we're not going to face him.
We aren't, or we are?
We won't.
Okay. Kind of what I figured. The Brewers as a team did not issue a walk in this game.
Yeah, he was literally dominating us.
Yeah. Sal Frelick was 2 for 4, so if there's a silver lining, that's it. But the Brewers did get revenge in game 2, so I'll let you say what you got to say about this one, but I kind of have a lot to say about this one.
Boy, oh boy, there's going to be a lot of names I'm throwing out at you. So buckle up. Let me get a little more comfortable here. Here we go. Yep, strap up. Here we go. So they went with the experiment of starting Trevor McGill again. And got off to a little bit of a rocky start. But 1 inning, pitched 3 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and 2 Ks. Threw a bunch of pitches. I don't remember if it ended at 28 or 29. Did he go over 30?
I thought it was write it down.
I thought it was like 28 or 29, but I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of pitches for a guy who throws as hard as he does.
Yep.
Colin Ray, 4 2/3 again, 3 hits, 1 earned run. Honestly, to get out of that, giving up 6 hits and 4 walks between the two guys and only 3 runs, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I will, knowing the, and this is my recency bias kicking in a positive way, but knowing that the Brewers are literally 1 inning away, foreshadowing, for this game alone, that they're 1 big inning away from taking the lead, I'm sitting pretty.
And this is the thing. The Brewers have put together quite a bit of those big innings. Like we talked about, I think last week, that the Brewers,
Yeah.
since like the middle of August, have like the second most 3-run innings in that time.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So, me and you and a couple other people that we know, being, the positive people that we are, we're like, you know what? Could have been way worse. So, Hopi Milner goes a third of an inning in this one, 0s across the board. Abner Uribe, your power pair guy. 0 hits, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Joel Payamps was back doing his thing, only 1 hit in his 1 inning of work. And Shafin, 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 K. And he's kind of it got off to a really, really bad start. And then he was all right. And then he had a bad outing. And then he's been all right again. So I feel like he's kind of hitting his groove a little bit. And I do agree with you. I'd like to see some more quality outings from him. But he is starting to settle in. I'll say it that way.
Exactly what I was just gonna say is like if he goes into the playoffs with say 5 consecutive scoreless appearances, like I'm feeling okay.
Yeah. So in this one we had 1 home run. The younger and better Contreras got a home run. I will give a shout out to his brother though. The home run he hit the day before was 115 miles per hour off the bat, which is freaking crazy. That was a legit laser.
Damn.
RBIs in this one: Donaldson, Canna, Taylor, Adames, Monasterio, Contreras, and Frelick. Contreras' home run was with 2 outs. Donaldson, 19 RBIs, Canna 56, Taylor 28, Adames 78, Monasterio 26, Contreras 74, and Frelick 22. Doubles in this one, since we had the quadruple double inning. Baseball reference for you. Donaldson, Santana, Taylor, Adames, Perkins, and Frelick all got doubles. 3 doubles now for Donaldson since being brought up to the team, so that's pretty damn good. 30 for Santana, 14 for Taylor, 25 for Adames, 5 for Perkins, and 8 for Frelick. So 4 for 15 runners in scoring position. So a lot of bites at the apple. So people taking advantage in that 1 big inning. So, I mean, could be worse, but a W is a W, right?
To have 15 batters have an attempt with runners in scoring position, like I'm fine. I'm fine.
I agree.
To have 15 opportunities with runners in scoring position, that means you're putting tons of people on base.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm good with that. Like people just can be like, oh, they batted 260 with runners in scoring position. Yeah, they did it with 15 opportunities. If you bat, 260 with, as a 1 for 4, and you're only talking about 1 run scoring and 4 chances, like, yeah, that sucks. But when you're doing it with 15 guys on base, that is, I mean,
some high pressure, so you're bound to crack.
Right. So the 3rd inning, with 2 outs, William Contreras cut the lead in half and made the game 2-1. You mentioned Trevor McGill opening this game again. The Cardinals got off to a 2-0 lead in the 1st inning, but the top of the 4th, Brewers are on the road now. Willie Adames, his leadoff double was 108 miles an hour off the bat. Josh Donaldson got down 0-2. He worked all the way back to 3-2 and then pulled a double to tie the game 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
Tyrone Taylor got down 0-2, fouled a couple pitches off, and then ripped a 3rd straight double of the inning. Sal Frelick made a 4th straight double on a horrible dive attempt by Jordan Walker. And Cardinals fans are trying to justify it like, oh, yeah, whatever, good outfielder makes that play. Like, that wasn't even like a bad route that he took. That was just a horrible play on that ball. Like, there's nothing you can say that, like, to justify this being, like, just a bad route to the ball. Like, no, that was just a horrible play on the ball all around, and then to still dive for it and miss it by, like, 1.5 feet.
It's pretty bad.
It was something. Andrew Monasterio followed with a deep fly ball. Sal Frelick got to 3rd. Blake Perkins drew a walk, and then a new pitcher came in. Mark Canna hit a tapper. Sal Frelick broke home, and the catcher decided to go to second base to try for a double play. Mark Canha was safe at first, and the run scored made the game 5-2. The top of the 7th inning was the first time the Brewers went 1-2-3 in this game.
Oh,
The Brewers had base runners on in the first 6 innings.
damn.
And then in the 8th inning, they made it another inning. Actually ended up being the only 1-2-3 inning of the game. The 8th inning, Tyrone Taylor led off with a walk, stole second base, got the third on a South Frelick groundout. Andre Monasterio had a sac fly that made the game 6-3. And in the 9th inning, William Contreras led off with a walk, stole second. Easy, bud, easy. William Contreras led off with a walk, stole second base. Willie Adames single scored him, made the game 7-3. That ended up being the final score, but the bottom of the first inning for the Cardinals against McGill had a leadoff single that stole second base. Strikeout for Paul Goldschmidt on a huge curveball. Like Trevor McGill bounced a curveball in, was able to get Paul Goldschmidt. That, for an inning where he gave up 2 runs, like that was still encouraging for me. Like to strike out Paul Goldschmidt on a pretty nasty curveball that bounced into Contreras' glove, that's nasty.
Mm-hmm.
That was followed by a ground rule double that made the game 1-0. That guy stole third base, and then a sac fly made the game 2-0. But McGill faced 7 batters. Kind of rough, not exactly the spot you want to be in. But going to the 5th inning, a 2-out solo shot made the game 5-3 Brewers. And then the 4th straight inning with a 2-out base runner for the Cardinals was the 5th. The 6th inning, a 2-out single for Hobie Milner came in, was the 5th straight inning that a 2-out base runner was on base against Colin Ray. Abner Uribe pitched the 7th, Payams pitched the 8th, and then Chafin in the 9th got a 3-pitch strikeout, gave up a walk and a single, made the Cardinals first and third. And then Andrew Chafin got Nolan Arenado to ground into a double play. That's encouraging, I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
So the Brewers struggled versus Wainwright, and then they beat Rom on his best pitch in this game. So credit to the Brewers for doing that, to follow that up. So Colin Ray, this was weird. He retired all 5 leadoff batters, but allowed 2-out runners in all 5 of the innings he pitched in.
That's weird.
The 9th inning insurance run that they scored did allow Devin Williams an extra day of rest, which is encouraging. The Brewers' magic number is down to 6. And this is Craig Counsell's 700th win as a manager. And it mathematically eliminated the Cardinals from playoff.
Yep.
So we got a little bit of revenge. Wainwright got his 200th win against us, but Counsell got his 700th win the next day and officially mathematically eliminated the Cardinals from the playoffs.
Gotta love it.
So now you're going to talk about the Brewers trade deadline additions, but I just want to throw out there, people have wondered, including us at times, I'm not going to lie, how the Brewers have such a good record with an offense that is inconsistent and was bad before the additions of Mark Canha and Carlos Santana. And I want to throw out just one potential answer to that question. And my thought is that they've added guys that can hit left-handed pitching. That was a big problem for the Brewers last year. They were number 27 in Major League Baseball last year, batting .222 against left-handed pitching.
Yeah.
This year, they're not great. They're still number 20, but they're batting .248 against lefties.
It's a lot better than .222.
And that's 26 points. So
Right.
Victor Caratini's batting .261 against lefties. He's a switch hitter. Joey Weimer was batting .267 against lefties. Andre Monasterio is batting .328 against lefties.
Right.
Carlos Santana is batting .353 against lefties as a Brewer. Mark Canha is batting. No, I'm gonna save him. William Contreras is batting .350 against lefties this year. And Mark Canha, since coming to the Brewers, is batting .387 against lefties.
What? 387?
387 since coming to the Brewers against
that's
lefty pitching for Mark Canha.
That's some bullshit. Straight up, that's some bullshit. So I knocked my computer over grabbing the sheet because I had it right here, and I thought it'd be a slick spot to put it. But, it is what it is.
All right.
So I'm going to go through 3 people: Josh Donaldson, Carlos Santana, and Mark Canha. I'm going to go in the order that I just named them. So starting with Josh Donaldson, I'm going to give us their stats on their previous team and their stats on the Brewers, and you're going to see kind of one guy is pretty consistent. He is what it is. And then another guy is really, really freaking good on our team. So we're going to start with Josh Donaldson here. And Josh Donaldson, 33 games, 13 runs, 15 hits, 1 double, 10 home runs, 15 RBIs, 12 walks, and 32 strikeouts. That's not a great ratio.
Ooh.
So obviously we know that he was struggling, right?
Mhm.
His slashes are a 142 batting average, a 225 on base percentage, which is really freaking bad.
Rough.
A 434 slug and a 659 OPS. So I mean, he was having a bad year.
The power was there, but that was about it.
Yeah. Then you get to him in Milwaukee. He's played 8 games now for the Brewers. Scored 3 runs compared to 13 in 33 games. 6 hits compared to 15 in 33 games for the Yankees. So, I mean, he's hitting the ball a little bit more, seeing the ball better.
Yep.
He has 2 doubles, so literally more doubles. The 1 home run, 4 RBIs. He has 5 walks and 8 strikeouts. So that's a much better ratio. His slashes are 214 average, 333 on base, a 393 slug, and a 726 OPS. So, I mean, could it be better?
He's been bad, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, he's been better than he was with the Yankees, so you can't complain about that, right? So now you get to Carlos Santana. He played 94 games for Pittsburgh. 45 runs, 81 hits, 25 doubles, 12 home runs, 53 RBIs, 45 walks, and 69 strikeouts.
Nice.
Dude, I'm telling you, they find us. I really feel like that. And the fact that he had 69 strikeouts for Pittsburgh and got traded to us after we called it during the trade deadline is like literally the most Wisco Fanatics thing of all time. Like literally,
Matt Arnold just went out and traded for a guy with 69 strikeouts just to give us that statistic.
I was like, nice.
You're a real one, Matt Arnold. We appreciate it.
You're a real one. So, in 43 games with the Brewers, now this is 51 fewer games. 28 runs compared to 45 in 94 games. I mean, he's scoring a lot more. 39 hits, so almost a hit every game. 5 doubles, 9 home runs. 9 home runs in 43 games. He hit 12 home runs in 94 games. 23 RBIs, 17 walks, and 31 strikeouts. So that one, I feel like the walks and strikeouts is staying the same, but I really feel like people see the ball better with the Brewers for some reason. So then you get to his slashes. He has a 229 average, a little bit lower than what he was. A 298 on base percentage, a 418 slug, and a 716 OPS. So, you know, he started pretty rough, and then he had the ankle issue. So I feel like that kind of swaying things a little bit, but still, the thing that you're getting from him, Steady Eddie, is
Fingers.
Yeah, he's going to hit the ball hard. He's going to bat from both sides. He's going to give you a really good defense. We didn't even bring up the out he had on Monday when the ball got stuck in his glove. That was crazy to me. So, the man of the hour, dude, because these fucking numbers from Mark Canha are absurd. Absurd. He is wrong for this. We are stealing from the Mets. So, he played 89 games in New York. 28 runs, 63 hits, 15 doubles, 6 home runs, 29 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, 32 walks, 52 strikeouts. So, I mean, it's like, he's mid. So then 245 average, a 343 on base percentage, a 381 slug, and a 725 OPS. A guy that can play multiple positions, that's a good deal to kind of get that guy for the Brewers, right?
Yeah.
I like the trade immediately.
Prospect.
Yeah. You know, I really like the deal right away.
Yeah.
So now, this is so dumb.
The Mets are paying this guy's salary. We're hearing the numbers. The Mets are paying this guy to play for us.
Yes. Thank you, by the way. So 40 games. So 49 fewer games. Keep that in mind. So he had 28 runs in 89 games. He has 20 runs in 40 games. 44 hits.
Damn.
7 doubles.
Nice.
5 home runs. He literally has 1 fewer home run than he did in 89 games.
In half the games, yeah.
26 RBIs. He has 3 less RBIs in 49 fewer games.
Damn.
4 stolen bases, 15 walks, 22 strikeouts. Now here's the slashes. This is so dumb. So he had a 245 average with the Mets, right? 317 on the Brewers.
Damn.
He had a 343 on base percentage, 400 on base percentage.
Damn.
A 381 slug, 475 slug.
Damn.
725 OPS, 875 OPS.
Wow.
Bro, we are robbing the Mets right now. Literally. In public, we're robbing them. It's so dumb.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm never getting rid of this sheet because Mark Canha is a freaking legend. He's a Brewers legend now. I'm going to carefully move this over here now. So
God, I hope we win a ring. Just for that reason, for the Mets to be like, we're practicing our World Series celebration, and then they go on a full fire sale and they give us a dude to pay him to play for us, and then he gets a ring with the Brewers.
Dude, at least one of them would know how to celebrate for a World Series,
yeah.
right?
Oh, that's awesome. All right. So before we get
extra.
to the Badgers, the Brewers, they play 2 more games at St. Louis, 3 games at Miami. That is their final road trip of this regular season. And then we will have 1 more of the home St. Louis series before next Wednesday. Next Wednesday's game is an evening game. So 6 games between now and next Wednesday. Magic number is 6. How many games do you see the Brewers winning between now and next Wednesday?
Oh, God, I'm going to sound like such a dick. I'm going to say 3.
I'm going to say 4.
I was teetering, but I felt 3 was correct.
And I could totally see it. Like the Marlins, they're kind of in flux. Like they need to go on a little bit of a run. So if the Brewers were to win, say 1 of 3 against the Marlins, it wouldn't surprise me because we're going to be getting the Marlins best, whereas the Brewers are kind of just situating themselves.
Yep, I agree.
But I mean, if we split 1 more of the 2 with St. Louis, take 2 out of 3 from the Marlins, and win the first one against the Cardinals, that's where I get 4 from. So
that's fair.
Alrighty, you ready to switch to football?
Bring on my boy. Bring on my boy.
All right, here we go. Switching to the Badgers. We got Mike with us, our Badger guy.
How we doing, fellas?
So we're trying something a little bit new. We are going to still start with our power pair and underrated performer. So starting with that, we have 1 offense, 1 defense, and then an underrated performer. So Mikey has our offensive power pair player this week. So we're going to start with Mike. Welcome in. And who is our offensive power pair player?
So my offensive pair here was are we doing the most improved or the most improved first? Are we doing our off the
power? We always start with our power pairs.
Okay. Yeah. So my guy was Braylon Allen this past weekend. So interesting, little bit of a slow start. I think we can all agree in this past week's game. I guess apparently after the game, he said he was actually questionable to play. So I had a hunch, going into it. I remember messaging you guys because Chez was starting or whatever. So, but no, he had an incredible second half. Definitely got us out of the rut that we were in. Fair to say, 12 carries, 94 yards with 2 touchdowns. He had that one big 32-yard run that really got things going for us, and off to the races. So it was good to see that he got that. At least everything seems okay now with him. But no, that was interesting when he said he was almost not able to go because I didn't hear any whispers about that at all whatsoever before kickoff. So that was very interesting. But no, he was the guy that got us started in the second half, and no, it was good on all ends there. He gave us that spark for the second half, and he was the one that, and historically so far this season, the Badgers have been performing their best in third quarters, and that's what got us going again to start this past game in the third quarter. So, yeah, go Braylon.
All right, Jake has our defensive power pair player.
So we're kind of talking about this, and I'm like, how do I not take Hunter Wohler, right?
I'll say, who else was it going to be?
So it had to be Hunter Wohler. Yes. So for Hunter, 10 total tackles, 6 solo, 4 assisted. He had a sack, his first sack of the season, and 2 interceptions. His second interception was a thing of beauty, would also be a great photo. So if anybody has that, send that over to me. But yeah, I think he's flying all over the field, like Mikey said. He's playing multiple positions. He's out in the box. He's single high. He's covering tight ends, running backs, wide receivers. He's doing it all, man. This guy, if he stays healthy, legitimately looks like an NFL player, I think.
100%. 100% agree. So before I name our underrated performer, we didn't pick this guy, but I want to give a shout out to Preston Zachman. He played a very good game against Georgia Southern. But we did end up going with Daryl Peterson. He had 4 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, one of them on 4th down. He was really just all over the field. So Daryl Peterson is who we went for with our underrated performer. Now, okay, before we start into improvements, I just want to ask you guys, new schemes on both sides of the ball. We discussed having some mixed feelings about how it was going. So before we start into talking about what improves, do you guys still have those same mixed feelings as we're 2 days away from game day? So I'll just let you guys offense, defense.
Floor is yours, Mikey.
So I'll go first because I am going to touch base about this a little bit later when we get to our next segment. But I do think we are closer from an offensive standpoint of getting to where we need to be versus defense. If you want me to, if it's one or the other, I just think, we're used to running like so much zone concepts in general. And this defense is predicated to running a little bit more man to man. And I think we're having a hard time, with that, whether it's a schematic standpoint, whether it's calls being missed. I think that's the one thing that we have to get around. But the problem is, and I'm going to touch base about this later, but we're giving up a lot of big plays. It feels like even when we're generating pressure week by week, we are getting better with that. But the ball still is still getting thrown out to receivers or whoever it is for big time plays. And that's something that, is becoming a problem. And I have a feeling that's how teams are going to, take advantage of us this year. So we're trying to get to that man-to-man scheme, so to speak. Sometimes we play zone, but not nearly as much as what we used to be. So that's the biggest call out. And I think that might be a little bit of a growing pain for this whole season. But I would love to hear your guys' feedback on that for sure. That's just what I see.
So I guess from a defensive standpoint, this is what I'm thinking. This entire year, we all thought, you go back to when we hired Fickle, right? You look at his first year with Cincinnati, that was a bad year, right? So you take all that, you take the film, you throw away what you need to throw away, you keep what you need to keep, you build off that, right? So defensively, I'm actually okay where we're at. We're figuring some things out, and we're growing in live action. Now, does it suck watching a team throw for a 20-yard pass? Yeah, it's not great. I don't feel good about it when it happens. But the things that you can't control are the tackling, which obviously one of us is, I don't want to give it away, but one of us is Tyler's going to talk about. So those effort things and those basics of football, that's the stuff that gets me mad. But schematically, when you see how people attack stuff, that's stuff that we're going to correct as the year goes on and going into next year. So I'm not really worried about that stuff right now because I don't expect to go for a national championship this first year. But I do like that we're getting different looks. And Georgia Southern is not a horrible team. People are going to hear Georgia Southern and think that we should have beat them by 40 points. Georgia Southern's a pretty damn good team, in my opinion. And offensively, I feel like we don't have the offensive line that we want for this scheme. I really feel that way. I feel like we need a more agile bunch. I feel like we still have more of the power run zone scheme bunch. So when that stuff kind of changes up front, then and if we're not doing anything, I'll be a little bit worried. But honestly, my mixed feelings from Saturday are different because I got to digest everything and think it through. So I'm okay.
Yeah, the left tackle position was a little concerning. Some penalties, and obviously we saw the blindside hits by Washington State. But Washington State is not slowing down. That's, talk about a good football team. Like Washington State looks real good.
Yeah, they're a good team. The whole Pac-12 or Tupac or whatever the hell you want to call them now, they're real teams out there right now. Like Colorado is a good team.
Washington
Washington's good. USC
Michael
is
Penix.
good.
Fuck, dude, that dude is good.
Oregon is in the top 10. They have a big game against Colorado this weekend. So, I mean, the Pac-12 is
Washington and
going to have
USC
some
play in October.
Yeah, they're going to have some major showdown. Dude, when Dion goes to LA, you want to talk about the bright lights, dude. Holy crap.
I think they come to Colorado. USC does.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Colorado plays at Oregon. But it doesn't matter, dude. Colorado's going to be arguably even more hype, even if they were to go out to LA. You've seen all the guys that are big going to those games.
Bro.
Yeah.
Like Lil Wayne brought them out last week.
Yep.
I know, dude. Well, Dion's dude, that team, if he stays there, bro, seriously, if he does stay there, that stadium that they're going to build is going to be ginormous. And I would not be shocked if Dion's not on the top of it.
Give him a statue already. I'll say it, and I don't want to use this as an excuse because I don't believe in it. But I have seen some people suggest that the personnel isn't quite what they're, wanting and they're going to want over the next couple of years as they continue to recruit for the way that they're using their schemes. So that is a factor, but I don't want to put all my eggs in that basket just because I do feel that kind of is an excuse. But I will say it's still the third game of new systems on both sides of the ball. And you can throw out as much, well, they practice this all spring and summer, so why aren't they perfect at it yet? There's no reps to replicate game reps, live game reps. There's no substitute for that.
I agree.
So that's where I know I kind of give a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. And if it ends up being like, let's hypothetically say the Badgers go 11-1 and their only loss is to Washington State, who right now is a top 20 team, like there will be worse resumes out there if that were to be the case.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're going to have an opportunity in a few weeks to play an Iowa team who's ranked. So, I mean, it's not like they don't have good teams in their schedule. And then we play Ohio State still. And, I mean, Indiana is not, like, great, but they're still not, like, the worst team in the Big Ten. You know what I mean? And
Illinois was a game highlighted on the preseason schedule that now doesn't look like it's going to matter as much because they just keep getting beat by bad teams.
Yeah, so now really the next big game is Iowa. That'll be a big measuring stick game. But this one in Purdue is not going to be easy. It's going to be a Friday night, so a day earlier. So on the road, first Big Ten game for Fick. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot of jitterbugs in this one, I think.
Right. So, Mike, I'm going to go to you first. What did improve from the Washington State game to the Georgia Southern game?
Yeah, so I went with an individual on this one. He's coming off, after a tough game, after week 1, after dropping a big pass that would have been a touchdown. I got Skylar Bell as my guy here. We have to remember, first off, this guy, he wasn't listed as a starter at the beginning of the year. After coming off a very good freshman campaign last year for, last year's team, last year he had 30 catches. This year he's got 13, right? So the last 2 weeks he's had 5 catches, right around the same amount of yards. It's been, last week it was 5 catches, 47 yards. Washington State, 5 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown. Then he had, 3 catches against Buffalo. So he's the second on a team in catches in general too. Braylon's number 1. And we know, I think we can all put together like what his actual total yardage is with Braylon. So, Skylar's been the most consistent so far 3 weeks in, you can argue, and he's making plays ever since that one drop ball. So I'm very proud of him, especially, like I said, he started on the second team. He's clearly getting enough looks. There's clearly a top 4 or 5 on this receiving squad now too. I think it's pretty set in stone. And honestly, I don't even see Skylar necessarily as strictly a slot. He can play anywhere, and that's just my personal opinion. But no, he's looked the most consistent, you could say, out of this receiving group, and keep her moving.
That's a good pick. Jake, what improved for you on the offense?
So I think the balance improved, and this is a little bit where I feel like they have to find their identity a little bit, with the new offense and all that. So the first week against Buffalo was 31 pass and 40 rush. We averaged 6.1 yards per pass, 7.9 yards per rush. So we were running the ball damn good, right? We didn't throw the ball very deep. That's why I was calling for us to stretch the field vertically, if you remember. And then Washington State, we had to throw the ball a little bit more because we were losing. So it was 40-29. We averaged 6.9 yards per pass. So that's a little bit better. But we only ran the ball for 3.1 yards average. Yeah, nice. You like that one?
Yeah, I caught that. Nothing gets by me.
And then Georgia Southern, we had 31 pass and 38 rush. That is an all right ratio for me because we had a 7.9 yard average per pass and a 5.4 yard average per rush.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, so 7.9 pass, 5.4 rush. If you keep it there and you keep it around those numbers, you're still going to control the ball a little bit, but you can still do the hurry up stuff. You're still taking chunks. You're still getting first downs. So for me, I feel like the balance was a little bit better, and I'm going to look for that to keep improving and building on that.
I like that. That sounds good to me. For me, what improved was the turnovers. The Badgers were a much more sure-handed, secure football team than they were against Washington State and Buffalo. They had 5 turnovers in the first 2 games, had 0 this week versus Georgia Southern. And what I'll say is Tanner Mordecai did bail out Bortolini on 1 goal line snap, did save him from there being a potential fumble there. So I'm going to talk about this when I get into my what needs to improve. But yeah, so Mike, looking at the offense after the Georgia Southern game, what needs to improve on the offensive side of the ball?
So I got the offensive line. We should be giving up, less pressures, right? So I'm actually going to go back to some stats here, and more so is predicated with the court with Tanner, right? So Tanner's had 88 dropbacks with no pressure. Okay, 86 of those plays he's gotten a pass off. He's completed 63 of them for 73%.
Oh.
610 of his 700 yards total has come through that. Okay. Wow. 30 of those 63 completions have been for a first down.
Okay? Damn.
Oh.
Yeah. So when he is an absolute baller when he's getting that protection. Now, he's had a total of 29 total pressures this year.
Yeah.
He's gotten 15 of the 15 pass attempts he's had with that. He's only completed 5 of those for 90 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. And that touchdown was to Skylar Bell when he against Washington State, where he got pressured, rolled out to his left, absolutely threw a dart. But no, if we can protect Tanner Mordecai, he is going to be an absolute baller. And I'm going to say it again this week. This is our guy. I'm telling you, Tanner is a fit for this place. He's not bad at all. I think Wisconsin fans should, quite frankly, be pretty happy we got him here for his 6th year. So he is an absolute baller. Tyler just said it. He has bailed us out with being very, very mobile numerous times, not just the touchdown, but you guys know what I'm talking about when I say that. But
very underrated mobility.
Yeah, exactly. So I think at the end of the day, if we can just give up less pressures, we can do some freaking damage. It's just a matter of time of executing. And another thing too, I guess, depending how the O-line could look this week, Trey Weddick, for example, got, I think it was 50 snaps, in combination of the guard spots this past weekend. So I think he might be due for a start at some point. But I think the line rotation, they're still working that out yet overall. So that's just something that I wanted to also point out with the less pressures allowed. But yeah, that's just incredible what can happen if we protect the quarterback.
That's really eye-opening, pointing out what he can do. He's just picking teams apart, basically completing 3 out of 4 passes, basically. That's impressive. I like that a lot. Might have to you might have to send me that. I might have to put that out as a graphic, because that's impressive.
I can do that.
Just as I was looking for the Brewers starting lineup, I just saw that Cam Akers has been traded to the Vikings.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean McVay hated that guy, dude.
Dude, yeah,
he'll never say it on camera or in public, but he hated that guy. God, him and Akers must have got into some freaking battles, man. I'm telling you, behind closed doors.
Yeah. So so that's happening. But all right. So back to Jake. Jake, what needs to improve out of the offense?
First of all, Cam Akers gets to take 2 L's to the Packers this year instead of 1, so congratulations. Second of all, I'm going to say Mordecai reads the defense better than Justin Fields with a clean pocket. Boom, boom. I'm firing shots. Also, Mordecai is the college version of Jared Goff, and that kind of makes me a little upset. You see Jared Goff splits when he's
Fuck
pressured.
you for saying that, because it makes sense.
Dude, you see his splits? You see his splits? When he's pressured, he's dog shit. When he's not pressured, he's a fucking Hall of Famer.
Fuck you for that.
Dude, instantly Mike said the pressured stats, and I was like, fuck, Jared Goff. We got Jared Goff. He's a little faster.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Damn it.
It's out already now.
I'm not going to forget that now, Dick.
I'm sorry. So, for me, what to improve is getting off to a fast start. And I feel like every football team talks about this. How many times have we heard Rodgers say this in press conferences? How many times have we heard LaFleur, like, et cetera, right? Getting off to a fast start it really gives your guys on the sidelines more confidence. You know, we're going down the field, we're going to score right away, and you know you can. There's something for being saying getting off on the right foot, right? The defense can be a little bit more amped up. So I wrote down some numbers here, nothing crazy, but. The first half, I wrote down the first halves of all the games. So we had 8 drives in the first half versus Buffalo. We had 2 touchdowns, 213 yards. We ran 41 plays. We had 4 punts, an interception, and a Tanner Neal was one of the drives. So in the game against Washington State, we had 6 drives. We had 3 field goals, and they were kicking our ass. We only had 162 yards in 6 drives. It's not great. We ran 38 plays. We had 2 fumbles and 1 punt. Then we get to the game against Georgia Southern. We had 1 touchdown in our first 7 drives, 211 yards, 5 punts, and 1 turnover on downs. Does that sound like winning football to you? Does that sound like a top 25 team? No. So this team, I feel like, needs to be a little bit more aggressive. I'm looking for Longo to just call some crazy shit right away. If we have to run a goddamn flea flicker, run a flea flicker. These are kids after all, right? Let's give them the juice, give them some excitement. Let's give them something to look forward to. Like, let's just, whatever you got up your sleeve, Longo, pull it out on Friday, because this team needs a shot in the arm real bad, and Longo's got to be the guy to give it to him in the form of play calling. We got to get off to a fast start.
So for me, what needs to improve on the offensive side of the ball is hands. Mike just brought up Skylar Bell and talked about how he's bounced back after dropping a touchdown. Late in the first half, Hayden's the tight end, right? Not Nolan's the offensive lineman. I do have my Rucci's right. Okay. Hayden Rucci bobbled a reception. He didn't drop it, but he bobbled a reception. He still caught it, but the delay in securing the ball cost him the chance at a first down. If he just catches, turns, and runs, he's got enough space between him and the defender that he's able to get to that first down. But him bobbling that catch and then securing it and turning it, the defender was able to get 2 steps closer to him, and he ended up short of the first down. So between a couple drops and then guys letting the ball come to their chest instead of catching it with their hands. I know the announcer said this with Will Pauling on a potential catch that he could have had for a first down. Letting the ball come to his body allowed the defender to get a hand in and break up the pass instead of Will Pauling catching it here and having the ball in his hands before the defender even has a chance to get to it.
Yeah, I got a question.
That's a good call
out. Does Matt Millen work for Big Ten Network, or does he work for Georgia Southern? Because listening to him talk, I literally could not tell.
Almost as bad as the announcers in the first week. Oh, bro, man.
You know who was bad? Was the freaking who the hell called the Packers game? Was that Jonathan Vilma? Am I thinking correctly?
Yeah, that was Vilma.
Bruh, can you freaking get off your knees? Jesus Christ, dude. I had to turn that shit off. I couldn't listen to it anymore. He was mumbling at one point because you know what I'm saying. Jesus.
All right, let's switch to the defensive side of the ball. Mike, what did you see that improved on the defensive side of the ball?
So I had to go back and look at this twice actually, this stat. I think they improved on getting pressured pressures to the quarterback, total pressures, right?
Yep.
Pro Football Focus, we had 26 total pressures this past week.
Damn.
26. No, I know. I had to, trust me, I had to
Holy
double and
shit.
triple check this. So 6 came from Daryl Peterson, 4 from our boy CJ, 3 from Muma, and 3 from James Thompson. Those were the top 4. But
Cool.
that was good, right? But the biggest call out I am gonna have on this is Mr. Ben Barton, who got his first real action.
Yeah, good call.
He got that deflection, and that's what led to the CJ Getz pick. So and Fickle absolutely raved about him on Monday this week for his.
I have a thought on that play.
So that was good to see, because I think we can all agree that we don't really, our D line in general isn't necessarily set in stone. It's definitely a rotation. They're still trying to figure it out. So when you see a guy that's, been in the 2, even 3 deep, and he's working his way up to get some of those reps and he's making plays, I mean, that's nothing. That's good signs, especially for our defense. So that I had to make sure I got a call out on that. And different guys on the line are starting to make plays. And we're getting close to the quarterback. We just got to execute on him finishing that off. But that
Mullins can get off the injury report too. That would be a really big boost.
Exactly. So that's another thing to look at this week, and even by the time we play Rutgers.
So I want to throw this out there because you brought this up, so I'm going to tie it into my segment, and then I'll go to Jake. But you mentioned the Barton tip and CJ Getz interception. I think CJ would have intercepted that pass anyways. The announcer's like, oh, he broke wide open on this out route. I don't think he did. I think CJ saw that out route coming, because you can see him start backing away, and he goes to cover that flat out route. Yeah. I think CJ would have intercepted that pass anyways.
He was definitely in the area. I'm gonna watch that play after this. I'm gonna watch that.
Go back and take a look at it. I think he would have picked that off, but that ties into my turnovers is what improved for the Badgers. So the Badgers got not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 turnovers in this game. Literally flipped their turnover differential from -5 to +1 in one game.
This is the game LeBron was talking about, huh?
I know. I was hoping you'd get that reference. So 5 interceptions from a quarterback who averaged 1 per game, and then Meba Jungmeta diving on a fumble, also by the QB. So 6 turnovers by the Georgia Southern quarterback, who threw 52 passes, which is just nuts. But that's going to tie in when we talk about Purdue in a minute. So, Jake, what did you see that improved for the Badgers defense?
I like that you called out their offense, the 52 pass attempts, because, man, they completely flipped their offensive playbook, man. Yeah. They were like almost dead last year in pass attempts I saw during the game, which was freaking nuts. But I'm going to play off Mikey here, but play calling is definitely something that I've seen improve. And the thing about the 3-3-5 is you can run so many different kinds of blitzes. Even if you show a single high look, you don't know if that safety's coming, which we did bring him this week. Obviously, Hunter Wohler got a sack. But you can run a lot of stunts. The nose tackle playing a zero technique basically allows him to not be double teamed, because then you're just leaving a gigantic hole in your offensive line, and you don't know if that linebacker's coming through. So playing a zero technique and a 3-3-5 is something that I really like. And I like the combinations of blitzes that we're running. I meant to look up the blitz percentages, and I did not get to it, but I will have it for you guys on Friday. I'll make a little reel for you guys. But I definitely noticed more blitzes and more stunts being used, and I feel like CJ Getz in general is getting better since the first game, because I was watching him really closely in the first game for obvious reasons, but he's getting better in my opinion.
All right, so Mike, what's something you're looking for the defense after this Georgia Southern game that needs to improve?
Yeah, sure. I kind of mentioned it before. It's giving up the big plays. Yeah. We've done that countless times this year. We allowed 7. I think this past Saturday alone, we allowed 7 plays of 15 yards or more. That cannot happen. Yeah, we gave up 300. Yeah, we gave up 383 yards through the air as well. I know 6 interceptions. That's great. That's great and all. But if we're playing a team, Georgia Southern's not bad. I know you said that before, but we cannot get away with that in the Big Ten at all. That's got to go for sure. Yeah, 7 plays of 15 yards or more we gave up. I don't know. Again, I mentioned it before in terms of like it. I think it's still more so of this transition with the scheme going from that going to that man-to-man coverage when we've mostly been predicated to a zone in the past. I think it falls in line with just like getting the schematics down and everything on that end. I thought it was really interesting too that with the cornerback specifically, what the snap count was. Alexander Smith, for example, we think he's like cornerback 1, right? Well, he only got 35 snaps this past weekend. Ricardo Hallman got all 82 of them. Jason Maitre got 77, and Nazir Fourqueen actually got 47. So I thought that was
growing on me.
Yeah. So I think that was a little interesting to call out, especially when, going into the season, I 100%, thought Alexander Smith was like cornerback number 1 for sure. I don't know if there's anything going on with that. I just wanted to point that out. But I think it might be going back to just the scheme, and just for me personally, I think it could go back to the scheme and just like maybe they don't quite get it yet, or maybe I don't know. We're gonna find out, this week, especially against Purdue. Is it not just a scheme? Can our guys actually play, press coverage or man to man, or are we gonna we're gonna find out more, especially as Big Ten play kicks in. Yep. But I thought that was one of the biggest call outs for sure.
So Jake, what needs to improve on the defense for you?
Third down defense. This was the easiest choice I had to make, in my opinion. So against Buffalo, we allowed 2 for 15 on third downs, which is great. Washington State went 7 for 15, and Georgia Southern went 9 for 17. So if you add all the totals up, it's 18 for 47. That's 38%. That's way too high. But hold on. You add in the last 2 weeks, they're 16 to 32. We're giving a 50 goddamn percent on third downs the last 2 weeks. Yeah. That is unacceptable in my book.
That needs to come down by 10% at least.
I don't give a shit about transition year. That becomes a point of pride, in my opinion. Yeah. Like, man to man, you got to look yourselves in the face and be like, yo, this shit ain't cool. 50% ain't cool. Like, there's so much stuff that's predicated on third down defense. You take your offense out of a rhythm. You don't get yourself into a rhythm. You're allowing the offense to dictate the pace of the game. We could look at the Packers game. The Packers allowed the Falcons to pick up third down and be in short yardage situations consistently, and they controlled the pace of that game, especially in the second half and the fourth quarter. And what happened? You fuck around, you find out, right? Yep. They keep fucking around with this 50% third down percentage. We're going to get our ass whooped pretty soon here, especially at the end of October. So let's get it together, boys.
So this kind of ties into that, but for me, the tackling needs to improve. And unfortunately, it's a common theme with football teams in Wisconsin. Some missed tackles allowed Georgia Southern to avoid some tackles for loss. So the Badgers could have really had a big game, and I think that kind of ties into Mikey talking about the amount of pressures they had. Mm-hmm. But some missed tackles to avoid some tackles for loss before the half allowed Georgia Southern to get into a position where they had a chance for points before the half.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got lucky, and they completely just missed a field goal that was just not even remotely close. Like, you could have flipped the goalpost around one more time. And that it might have been good, but it was pretty bad as far as where that field goal went. But just the fact that Georgia Southern had an opportunity to get points before halftime, it really it needs to improve his tackling. It's just one of those things where Jake's kind of talking about, little things and doing things like that. The word that comes to mind for me is details.
Yep.
For me, tackling is a detail thing. And it's just something that it's so fundamental. Like I do fundamental failures for basketball teams. If I were to do fundamental failures for a football team, missed tackles would absolutely be one of the things. It's something that is so fundamental to having a good defense, as being a sure tackling team and making the first tackle and rallying to the ball, which I do think, to the Badgers' credit, I do think they're pretty good at rallying to the ball. But they need to make those tackles. That's what's going to make this defense elite, arguably more than anything, is just making those tackles.
Yeah.
It just has to be better, in my opinion. It's just really, it's not a negotiable thing. It just has to be better.
Agreed.
All right, so let's talk Friday night. We're 2 days away from game day this week now. Mike, what are you looking for from the Badgers offense against Purdue?
I think the first thing is going to be what's the O-line going to look like? I mentioned it earlier with Trey Weddick getting like 50. I think it was right around 50 snaps. I'm going to look at this real quick here. All right. And then, Trey Weddick got 51 snaps. That is more than Michael Furtney and way more than Joe Huber, who are both the starting guards. So I think we're going to see a change at guard at some point. And Jake Renfro, he's still up in the air, I believe. I know Fickle keeps saying that he wants him back this week, but if he's not going to be back this week, then he's going to be back in time for Rutgers. So I'm looking at the offensive line and what the new lineup is on that. And I guess I'm going to call, like Jake kind of mentioned it before with Longo busting out the playbook. I'm looking to see if there's going to be some new shit being released now that Big Ten play has started. Maybe he's got more tricks in his hat or whatever, but I'm looking to see what other stuff he's got going on, what other stuff he's cooking. So the O-line, what the O-line's going to look like, and if there's any new plays that we're gonna see.
Jake, what are you looking for from the offense?
Just to continue that balance, I wanted to stay on brand for myself with things that I picked. So staying on balance, running the ball well, staying ahead of the sticks, picking up your own third downs, giving your defense rest, and please, for the love of freaking God, throw the ball down the field. I understand the short game is kind of like an extended run game, and the intermediate is nice when you need plays, but we have to start threatening these safeties, especially one on Purdue that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. Spoiler alert. He is clearly by far their best player on their defense.
Oh, yeah. For me, I'm looking at it. So Purdue has allowed the most touchdowns in the Big Ten with 12. I'm looking for really more of the efficient up-tempo offense that we saw at times against Georgia Southern. There were several drives where I was like, yes, this is what potential this offense holds for the future. There were several drives, and there was one play, such beautiful play design, and I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, if that's what Wisconsin's air raid turns into, I'm going to have a lot of fun watching this. And it was Tanner Mordecai in the pistol, running back next to him, play action. So they run play action, and then Tanner Mordecai rolls out and has the choice to throw or run. So they ran a play action quarterback option for Tanner Mordecai, and I'm like, yes. There's so many wrinkles to that play call that it's like, that's what the offensive potential holds. And Mike brought up before with Tanner Mordecai's underrated mobility. Opposing defenses have to respect that from Tanner Mordecai. It's not just like, oh, okay, well, this guy's not going to run. Tanner Mordecai will run.
Yeah, he will.
So wait till we get a true dual threat, dude. Wait till we get a true dual threat. We are going to shit on some people.
So that one play specifically, but over the course, and this was mostly in the third quarter, but during the 28 unanswered points that the Badgers scored against Georgia Southern, there was some really good stuff from the offense. I like the tempo, the balance, like Jake keeps bringing up. I'm really excited to see this continue to expand. So it's gonna come back a little bit when we get into some score predictions. But Mike, what are you looking for from the Badgers defense against Purdue's offense?
Just trying to cut down on giving up those big plays. I mean, their leading receiver, Deion Burks, he's got 9 catches, 221 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an average yards per reception of 24.6, basically 25. So that does not fit well with our defense because of we give up all the big plays as of right now. So I'm looking forward to hopefully cutting down on the big plays. We cut down on the big plays, our defense could look so much different, I feel like. So don't give up the big plays.
Jake, what are you looking for from the Badgers defense against Purdue?
Glad you brought up Deion Burks. I was going to bring him up too, but for a different reason.
Me too.
Stop the run. If you look at their schedule, you go through their games, they won 1 game. They're 1-2. He scored 2 touchdowns in 1 game. That was the last game they played. Didn't score a touchdown, and then he scored a touchdown in their first game. The 2 games that he scored touchdown, they were passing the ball really well. They lost. The game that they ran the ball crazy against Syracuse, They won that game, and Deion Burks was basically a non-factor in that one.
Hmm.
Stop the run, sell out, let him get his. Let's run the ball ourselves. Let's get out of there with a win.
So that's interesting because I put my defensive notes is that we talked about Devin Mockabee last year. As a freshman in 2022, he was really good.
Yeah, he is.
He will 100% be my focal point for the Badgers to be successful in this game. So far this season, he's only averaging 3.8 yards per carry. Do not let that fool you. Devin Mockabee is a very good running back, and we saw it last year. He's got tons of potential.
Yeah.
And then the other thing with the Badgers defense against Purdue's offense, Purdue's played 3 games this season, right? They've only kicked 1 field goal.
I'll tell you what changed for Purdue's offense this year, though. They lost a quarterback to the NFL and a wide receiver to the NFL. So that's a big, skill position change for him. That's why he's probably averaging less yards per carry. So
yeah, but he's a very good running back. So don't let that 3.8 yards per carry fool you. He's good. Mike, what's the matchup you're watching for this game?
I would just say I'm still going to be repetitive on the offensive line. The offensive line and what we do. I'm hoping our running game definitely improves this week collectively. So I'm just looking for that potential new offensive line. I still have a feeling it's going to be changed this week. I'm looking to see how we adapt and just like straight up in the trenches, offensive line versus defensive line.
Okay. Jake, what's the matchup you're watching?
I'm watching Braylon Allen versus Dylan Theinman. That is their safety. He has 31 tackles and 2 interceptions. He leads the team, and if you add the next 2 guys, second and third on that defense, total tackles, he has more than those 2.
So he's like our Hunter Wohler.
Yes, he is basically our Hunter Wohler. It is our star versus their star. Allen must win to establish physicality. And like Jay Love said, give this damn team the juice. Run them over a few times, Braylon.
I'm with that. So my matchup, everything that has been said about the matchup that I'm watching has already been said during this show. I am watching Ricardo Hallman versus Deion Burks. So Ricardo Hallman got beat for the biggest play of the game last week by either team. That 68-yard reception that I think it was Travion Blaylock saved from being a touchdown. Mm-hmm. And you already mentioned Deion Burks averaging 24.6 yards per reception. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on Ricardo Hallman versus Deion Burks. So before we get to some score predictions, Mike, what's your key to the game for the Badgers?
Key to the game: protect the damn quarterback. I said
that's valid. That's valid.
Protect the damn quarterback. I gave you guys those stats earlier when we have if we can protect Tanner Mordecai, the dude can go off in a game. Okay, we just gotta give him the right protection that he needs. And Purdue is a great opportunity to showcase what we can do on the pass because they are not the greatest defense out there in comparison to maybe some other teams in the Big Ten. I think this could be a potential coming out party if we protect the damn quarterback. So I want to see Tanner Mordecai have a game.
Me too. Jake, what's your key to the game?
All right, so I kind of cheated because I found one thing late and I found it interesting. So Badgers win if they keep forcing turnovers. Purdue has 8 fumbles in 3 games this season, so they turn the ball over quite a bit. They have 3 passing touchdowns, 7 rushing touchdowns, and an interception, so stop that run. And the thing that I found interesting is Purdue averages giving up 70 penalty yards a game. The Badgers are around 45. So stay clean, force those turnovers, take advantage of it, keep Mordecai clean, and we're going to go get out of there with a W, baby.
So mine is going to foreshadow my score predictions a lot. But for me, balancing the run and the pass like Jake has talked about, but allowing the options. So I'm going to kind of combine some things you guys have talked about. And Mike, I agree with you. I agree that Tanner Mordecai is the guy. And if he's protected, I really think that my heart score prediction is possible with this team if, like we do with our heart predictions, everything goes right and we're optimistic on it all. So for me, the key is to balance the run and the pass, but to allow options. So to trust Tanner Mordecai to make those options, to run, whether it be a quarterback option that he can give to the running back or to take the ball down and to pass. So just let Tanner Mordecai run the offense is really kind of what I'm going to with this. So, Mike, give us your first score prediction from the head.
So I need the defense to prove it to me here, but I got 30-27 Wisconsin. I think Vakos is going to come in and hit a game winner with like a minute to go.
All right.
So 30-27 Wisconsin.
All right.
30-27. Okay. Tyler, what's yours? You give me yours first.
When you started off by saying 30-20, and I'm like, oh shit, he's gonna say mine. Mine is 30-20.
30-20. Okay. That's a good score. I like that. I went 28-24.
Oh, close. All right. All right, let's go from the heart. Mike, give us your score prediction from the heart.
I'm gonna say I love
whatever your margin of victory is. I bet mine's bigger.
I just love the potential of what our offense, what I think it can be. So I got 38-24 Wisconsin from the heart.
Ooh.
Jake, do you want to go next? Mine's a little outlandish. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
All right. Kind of like mine was last week, but I was completely wrong.
Mine's worse.
I'm gonna go. If everything goes right from the heart, 31-13.
All right.
Oh boy.
I really feel good about what I saw from those drives from the offense, and I really feel that if it's like this is the first Big Ten game for Fickle, and Purdue has been a team that's kind of trapped us in the past, but I'm really looking for the Badgers to kind of lay down some wood and really kind of be like, we lost to Washington State, but we're here to take the Big Ten, and this is going to be kind of like a coming out party for the Badgers.
Okay.
I'm going to say 40-6.
Bro, what?
Oh man. I hope you're right.
This is really the first like really big victory margin I've predicted from the head or the heart. But I'm really putting my eggs in the basket of the Badgers have it figured out in week 4.
Damn.
That's ballsy. I give you props. I hope you're right.
Good.
And I think we've won. I think it's 16 in a row against Purdue or something like that now, by the way. Or there's a stat that we got, Wisconsin, Purdue series. I want to say it's 16 in a row or some crazy stat line like that.
My prediction from the heart was 4 points bigger than yours was this week. My prediction last week.
Okay.
Remember, I said 58-20, so that was a 38. Yours is 34, which you're allowing 6 points, which is fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It really comes down to the secondary.
It does. I thought 13 was going to be nuts. I was like, bro, they're going to laugh at me for saying 13.
I need our defense to like not give up point. Like, just show me 1 week, and then maybe I can get down to the teens one day. Right now, I gotta see it. I just gotta see it.
And that's the thing is like I'm trying to with this prediction, like I'm trying to get ahead of the seeing it to believe it.
Yep.
Like I do think the trends are going in the right direction, especially with the turnovers and the offense being better and not turning the ball over. I don't know. It felt right. It felt bold, but in a scenario where everything goes correctly, and this being the more optimistic of the score predictions, I'm just putting it out into the world, and we'll see what happens. If it's wrong, I'll say something about it next week, and I'll be like, "Man, was I wrong?" We'll be back talking about this next Wednesday when this game happens. It's going to be happening Friday night while Jake and I are with Simon and Bryant. Simon will be here with us this week. To talk about
Simon!
Packers. I think Jake. I think you're more excited for Simon to be on the show than Simon is to be on the show.
I know it, dude. I miss Simon. Simon's such a good guy, man, and Simon's good every episode for like 1 or 2 things, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't think about that. That's like a smart guy thing to think about.
So Jake and I will be back on Friday night, and then we will see Mike back next Wednesday. So we will see you then.
Sounds good. Later, fellas.